I've had my 2013 Accord Coupe now for about a week, and so I'm going to make a full review of this car later on after I've had some more time with it, but I thought I'd make a first impression video that's kind of shorter and much simpler than a full review, just maybe helping you guys out if you're looking for an Accord Coupe, or if you just like watching my videos, maybe you'll get some enjoyment out of this. So let's go ahead and get started. I traded my Civic Si for this Accord, and there are two main reasons for doing so. I wanted something with more power, and I wanted something that had a more luxurious feel, and I definitely got that with this car. So this is a V6 6-speed, which is a pretty rare combination, and I had to go about 2.5 hours to actually find this car. So one of the first things that brought me to the 9th generation Accord is the styling. So the Accord Coupe in the 8th generation, it was a pretty good looking car, I thought, but it was really bulbous and really big looking. And when they came out with the 9th generation Accord in 2013, they actually made the outside of the car smaller than the 8th gen, but the inside is bigger. And so I just think they did a really good job styling this car, and just overall the design is much more grown up than the 8th generation Accord, and a lot more grown up than the Civic that I had as well. So that's one thing that really drew me to the Accord of this year, is just the way it looks. And inside, this car is much more upscale than the Civic as well. The design, of course, is more mature, I suppose you could say. It doesn't have the funky two-tier instrument cluster, and it just looks like a more grown-up car, especially with the black leather seats. It's a really stylish interior, I think. Also, it's pretty well made in here. There's lots of soft touch materials, and all the panel gaps are really tight, and everything just has a precise, well-made feel. So it's a lot better than the 8th generation Accord, and even though I thought the Civic Si had a pretty good interior, this just takes it up another step. So it's a really nice upgrade from the Civic that I had. As far as the feature content on this car, I think it's great. I'm not huge into driver assistance technology, but I think this Accord has just the right amount of it. So it has forward collision warning, and it's pretty unintrusive, really. It senses if the vehicle thinks you're going to hit someone in front of you, and it's more sensitive if you're not braking. So if you're braking, it's going to relax a little bit. It assumes you know what's going on, but if you do get too close to someone, it will flash a couple lights up there and start beeping. But if you're on the accelerator, it gets a lot more sensitive, which is really nice. I have a tendency to want to look around outside at things that are going on, and I've used it a couple times where it's beeped at me, and I knew that I needed to slow down, but it just kind of helped me realize exactly how quickly I did need to slow down in order to prevent hitting someone. And the lane departure warning that it has, I actually switched that off. It was just so annoying. I'd been driving on some back roads and whatnot that are pretty tight, and it was constantly beeping at me as I was going on corners and whatnot. But if you're in an area that maybe has some tighter roads, it might be nice to switch it back on just to make sure you do stay in your lane. But it doesn't vibrate the seat or anything. It's not super intrusive. It's just a gentle kind of beeping that goes off when you do drift out of your lane. However, I do really like the lane watch camera. My Civic had that as well, and it's super useful. So when you turn on the right turn signal, it shows exactly what's in the blind spot here on the center screen. So you don't really have to take your eyes off the road in front. Sometimes when you're looking out that corner of the vehicle, especially if you have people in the car, it can be difficult. Maybe you might miss something, and if you're looking back there trying to figure out exactly what's there, if you have trouble seeing, you're going to be taking your eyes off the road of what's in front. And so it's really nice to have that camera just right there to show you exactly what's in the blind spot. So I like that a lot. But as far as that goes, that's about as much driver assistance technology as I'd ever want in a car, and so this Accord has just the right amount of it, I think, and it's easily defeatable. You can just push the button here to turn off the lane departure warning, and it stays off the next time you restart the engine, and you can go into the menus here and adjust the distance on the forward collision warning. So it's really nice that you can easily defeat that, or at least diminish the intrusiveness of it. One thing that I really wanted in my next car is leather seats, and the Accord has leather seats, but they're very stiff, and the leather just feels hard. So I've tried treating it with some conditioner, and it seems to have softened it up a little bit. I'm sure I'll have to do quite a few more treatments, but it just feels like a hard leather, so I'm not super impressed with that. And unlike the older Hondas, it doesn't have that ruffled look by the seams. I really liked that on older Honda vehicles. The leather was all ruffled up there, and I thought that looked really nice. It's perforated in the Accord Coupe, and it has a kind of cool pattern on it, but it doesn't have the ruffled look, and it's pretty hard, so I'm a little disappointed there. I'm also kind of disappointed with the shifter. Everything feels to be kind of shifted over to the right a little bit, so like when you put it in first, it almost looks like the shift knob is it lined up in the center of the vehicle. It's a little misleading there and takes some getting used to. But apart from that, the shifter in this and the clutch feels quite a bit more old school Honda than the Civic Si I had. It just has kind of an older style Honda feel to it, and that's like that with some other things in this interior as well. Just the way everything's laid out and the quality of everything is much more old school Honda than the Civic Si that I had. The main reason I bought this car was the engine. So it's a great engine. It sounds good. You can easily break the tires loose, even without trying. You can break the tires loose. And it has 278 horsepower out of 3.5 liters, so it has about 79 horsepower per liter. My Civic Si had 84 horsepower per liter, but it was down 70-some horsepower to this engine. And this car does weigh a couple hundred pounds more, but surprisingly the handling isn't bad. It's actually really good, and it's pretty on par with the Civic Si. In fact, I honestly think this feels a little bit more stable than the Civic Si. Give it some better, grippier tires, and I think this thing could actually out-corner the Civic Si. It's that good. There's a little bit of body roll initially, but once you get past that, the car kind of sets down where it's going to be, and you can just go right through the corner. It rotates nicely, and it's really nice. I have noticed some understeer and quite a bit of torque steer going on corners in the rain, but on dry pavement it's pretty good. As long as you don't bury your foot in it all the time, it's going to corner really nicely. So it has 42,000 miles on it, and I'd like to keep it for a long time, but given that it's a two-door, I'm probably going to have to get into a four-door car before too long, which will be really disappointing because I love this car so far. So I think I will leave it at that, and like I said, I will be making a full review after I've had some more time with this car. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked this video, or if you want to see more videos of this car. Thanks for watching.